American Pickle is definitely a pickle of a time when you have two different versions of Seth Rogen. Yes, guys, I said two different versions of Seth Rogen. Find out why you guys got to check out this film coming up. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be going over An American Pickle, a brand new HBO Max premiere film coming out this week. Now, thank you to HBO Max for providing the early screener of this. I've been really excited for this film, and I'm sure many of you guys are as well. I'm a giant fan of Seth Rogen, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. What are your guys' thoughts on American Pickle? Are you guys excited for this film? Are you not? As well, what is your favorite Seth Rogen film? Let's discuss it all down there. As well as hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me, it helps the channel, and it'll also help you guys get tons of early movie reviews and tons of early content like this where I love talking movies and I want to keep talking them with you guys. So let's keep doing that, guys, all the time over here. American Pickle, though, follows Herschel Greenbaum, a struggling laborer who immigrates to America in 1920 with the dreams of building a better life for his beloved family. But one day, while working at his factory job, he falls into a vat of pickles. Yes, he falls into a vat of pickles, which preserves him for 100 years, and he perfectly is fine waking up. But when he emerges in present-day Brooklyn, he finds that he has not even aged a day. But when he seeks out his family, he is horrified to learn that he only has one surviving relative, and that is his great-grandson, Ben, a mild-mannered computer programmer whom Herschel can't even begin to understand. I love this idea. I love this concept of an actor playing two different versions of him, or in general, two different characters, and I think that brings a lot of great dynamics and, again, stretches the actor into a different performance that we've seen before. And American Pickle, definitely the main big product of this all is Seth Rogen and his performance in here. And with a weird concept like this of a man falling in the pickle juice and being preserved for 100 years, that's just weird. And you would expect right off the bat from this to be such a weird, crazy concept of these two dudes partying, smoking weed, having fun, because that's the typical Seth Rogen thing. But it's not. There's not an inch of raunchiness in here. In fact, they take all the raunchiness out and throw in a lot of tender love, poignant, miraculous, and absolutely stuff that really will stick out and speak volumes to certain people who watch this film. And this is something different than Seth Rogen's ever done before when it comes to a comedy, or in general, just something he's done differently in quite a while. A lot of that comes down to his performance as Ben and Herschel. Playing two different characters is very difficult. Both characters have their different quirks, personalities, and all sorts of that stuff, where Seth Rogen actually chameleonizes himself into each of them. Now, Ben, you can definitely tell that's more of the Seth Rogen that we've known and love. But Herschel's the one that's actually more interesting to see how he chameleonizes into this character where when you see them both on screen, you're not like, oh, that's two Seth Rogens. No, I totally forgot. It's seamless, and it's deepening to see how well Seth Rogen is able to do that, and really strengthens and shows how great of an actor this guy is. The thing is about Seth Rogen is I love seeing what he's been able to do, whether he's adapting, producing, acting. He's really been able to stretch himself over the last couple of years in Hollywood, and I think this project was something that was really interesting for him to tackle and take on. His performance, again, is wonderful, and really An American Pickle is quite a wonderful film. It's a tender, loving one that has a lot of smiling moments to it, where again I had a big smile on my face watching this film. I laughed, and at times I even felt a little bit emotional for our characters in here and some of the stuff that they had lost over the years, because it does dive into family and why family is so important to others, and really why it's okay for us to latch on and should be latching on to our family and the loved ones around us, because they sometimes are the ones that bring out the best in us. And I think one of the things I really loved about this film is how it settles and dives into accomplishments in life and what makes you feel accomplished, what makes you look back on your life and make you think that you're accomplished. An American Pickle deals with all that. Definitely maybe it could have dived into a little bit stronger, especially when it ties into the religion aspect of being Jewish in America at certain different times and periods, and how religion and a different culture really kind of stretches, and how you kind of lose culture over the years when you're growing as a family, especially when you look back in the 1920s, maybe your family was doing something completely different, to maybe even 100 years from now into today's society, you're definitely going to do something different than your great-great-grandfather father was also doing. And I think that was quite, again, a poignant thing that I wish they would have tied into just a little bit more, because I think that culture and religion aspect is something that would have really tied into a lot more stuff going on in today's society. An American Pickle is an interesting movie because it's an entertaining one, but it's one that speaks volumes. It's one people are going to go into thinking it's a very raunchy comedy because it's Seth Rogen, but it's not. It strips the raunchiness out and takes a more serious approach into this weird, quirky idea and makes it work. The directing, the writing makes that work. And it ties into a lot of different things of how it works in our society. And one of my favorite things was seeing how Herschel reacts to certain things in our world, the modern day technology and all sorts of stuff like that. And some of that could have come off very cringy. Some of the Alexa jokes, the Twitter jokes, and even some of the vlogging issues and jokes that they could have throughout the film. And maybe even feel like an impromptu kind of like, oh, hey, look at me, you guys should go buy an Alexa. And definitely could feel like that. But it came off right because of the dynamic, because of the situation going about it inside this moment. And I really liked how they were able to tie that all in perfectly here. Before I give you guys my final thoughts on An American Pickle, make sure to comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts again. What is your favorite Seth Rogen film? Let's discuss it all down there, as well as hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on content like this over here on a daily basis, guys. Helps me out and it'll help you out. Head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And of course, just a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. American Pickle is a sweet, poignant, and honestly, not the kind of comedy you would expect from Seth Rogen. But it's one that is absolutely fascinating. It's one that kept my interest. It's one that kept me entertained, and it's one that put a big smile on my face throughout its whole entire runtime. Wasn't gut-busting laughing throughout the whole entire thing. But that's not what this film set out to be. It set out to tell a story about accomplishments, about two different sides of Brooklyn, two different years in perhaps, and two different types of generations of family members, and how culture, accomplishments, and all sorts of that can really differ. I think this is actually really much a film that many people should check out. I think looking at Seth Rogen as a performance, this is great. Seeing two different versions of him, but in general, two different, completely different characters, and two different ones that live in two different time periods. It's just quite interesting to see how they were able to pull this off. Overall, I just couldn't get enough of An American Pickle. So with all that said, I'm going to give An American Pickle a B. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comment section. I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. I really much enjoy this, and I'm really curious to hear what your guys' thoughts on it are as well. So thank you guys again so much for clicking on this, and of course, until next time, stay classy.